In this video, you will create a small library of two-dimensional furniture symbols drafted to standard sizes per item in AutoCAD for Mac. Let's get started with a tour of the drawing file for this project. You've been provided with a rectangular drawing area in which to draft the 2D furniture library. All objects in AutoCAD are drafted in model space at full scale. A list of the objects are provided here. As you draft each object, move the corresponding tag to the constructed piece of furniture. We will scale the drawing on the paper space layout to fit on a letter size sheet, which corresponds to 8.5 by 11 inches, landscape orientation. You will be responsible for creating the viewport for scaling the drawing, and set the viewport scale to 3/16 equals 1 foot, 0 inches. A title bar and rudimentary title block have been provided to you for you to finalize the project assignment once all of the objects have been drafted. We begin the project in model space. We will divide the grid into equal parts using the following strategy. But first, we need to set up a visible marking system. To do that, go to the Format pull-down menu at the top of your screen and locate Point Style. This dialog box brings up a list of all the visible markers you can use with commands such as divide and measure. These markers also correspond to the AutoCAD command PDMODE. See the separate video for a full demonstration of the PDMODE command in the course index. The first box corresponds to point style number 0, which is a tiny node dot. Point style number 1 is no marker. Point style number 2 is a plus sign. And point style number 3 is an X, and so on and so on. I almost always use point style number 3 because it is the easiest to see with orthographic lines, and it doesn't take up as much space as some of the fancier nodes. To divide the box in equal sections, at the command line type DIV, enter. Select the line you want to divide. Input how many sections you want, in this case 4. Hit enter. Repeat the process for the perpendicular line segment. Before we can draft the intersecting grid lines, we need to set OSNAP to accommodate node. The OSNAP settings you will need for this project include endpoint, midpoint, center, node, quadrant, intersection, extension, and perpendicular. Make sure you have each of these checked. Draw a line from each node to the perpendicular point 90 degrees from the node. See me demonstrate the technique here. Now that we've drafted the grid lines, we need to trim some of the lines for the larger 2D furniture objects we will create. Locate the trim icon on the Modify panel or type in at the command line TR Enter. Trim away the line work at the queen bed, baby grand piano, rectangular dining table, 60-inch diameter round table, and the large sofa areas. It is easy to get rid of the nodes by doing one of the following techniques. If you think you'll need to refer to the same nodes again later, then reset PD mode to 0. The modes are still there, but they are not visible. If you want the PD mode to be ready for additional markers but no longer need these particular nodes, you can simply erase them by picking on one and hitting the delete key on your keyboard. We will be drafting the top view of the queen-sized bed. Refer to the dimensioned handout for accurate specifications. Locate the rectangle tool from the Draw panel or type at the command line REC, enter. Pick a first point and begin to drag out the shape of the rectangle. Type D for dimension, enter. Type in 5 feet, enter. Type in 6 feet 8, enter. Pick a rotation angle by picking anywhere. This ends the command. Now use the Move tool to select the Q bed tag and place it with the object. We will now draft the double dresser. Again, this is practice using the rectangle command. Pick a first point and begin to drag out the shape of the rectangle. Type D for dimension, enter. Type 4 feet 10, enter. Type 1 feet 6, enter. Pick a rotation angle by picking anywhere. This ends the command. Move the annotation tab to the object reference. You might need to toggle the orthographic function 8 key on or off. We will now draft the 36-inch square shower. This is good practice using the rectangle and circle commands. First, locate the rectangle tool on the Draw panel or type at the command line REC, enter. Pick a first point and begin to drag out the shape of the rectangle. Type D for dimension, enter. Type 3 feet or 36 inches, enter. Type 3 feet or 36 inches, enter. Pick a rotation angle by picking anywhere. This ends the rectangle command. Draw 2 diagonal lines from each corner of the square. These lines represent the shower floor slope. Where the 2 lines intersect, use the circle command to draft a circle with a 3-inch diameter. Locate the circle command on the Draw panel. Pick where the 2 slope floor lines intersect. Begin to drag out a circle. Type D for diameter. Type 3, enter. Use the Trim command to trim the lines out of the circle. The circle represents a standard 3-inch diameter drain. Move the annotation tab to the object reference. You might need to toggle the orthographic function 8 key on or off. The next object we will draft is the side-by-side refrigerator appliance. Refrigerators will vary in dimension and door sizes. However, this is a good representation of a freestanding side-by-side refrigerator. Freestanding refrigerators are deeper than the countertop depth built-in versions. To draft this object, it is easier to start with 4 lines instead of a rectangle because we will use the offset command to help us with the doors. Once you have the refrigerator box drafted, it is time to add the doors. Start with the line command. Pick in the lower right-hand corner for the first point. Instead of picking a second point, type at 20 less than 225, enter. The 20 defines the length of the line segment, and the 225 defines the angle in which you're drawing. Now let's draft the angled line that represents the freezer door. Begin the line command, pick on the lower left-hand corner. At the command line, type the symbol at 16 less than 315, enter. This will draw a line that's 16 inches long and angled at 315 degrees. Now we will add the arcs for the door swings. This is an important part of the appliance graphic for space planning so that you can determine how much clear floor space you will need to accommodate in front of the appliance. To prepare, offset the right side of the refrigerator 20 inches. Locate the arc tool on the Draw panel. Choose the 3-point arc. Alternatively, at the command line, type arc, enter. Pick the end of the line we just offset. Then pick the end of the longer door line. Slowly begin to extend the arc just past the door line about 3 inches. If you're having trouble doing this, that might mean that you need to toggle off the ortho, which is the F8 or function 8 key. Repeat the 3-point arc command for the freezer door side. Move the annotation tab to the object reference. You might need to toggle the orthographic function 8 key on or off. This is the end of part 1 of the 2D furniture exercise. To recap the commands and tools covered in part 1, line, rectangle, diameter, define circle, 3-point arc, and the offset command. The 2D top view furniture created includes queen-sized bed, double dresser, 36-inch square shower, and the side-by-side freestanding refrigerator freezer. All of the 2D objects we will be drafting are examples of generic furniture defined in the top view. These type of graphics are useful for the schematic design phase of planning. Once you've moved on to the design development phase after schematics, you will begin to more specifically detail the type of appliances and furnishings that will need to be drafted and utilized in the space plan.